Happy Saturday, remnants out there. What a beautiful day in the neighborhood. I'm so glad to be here today to share with you. I am anxious to get into today's conversation because it's one of those conversations that we need to have, you know. Um it's one of those things where, it's at our core, right? And that because it's at our core, it affects every other thing in our life. So today we have our guest returning from last week's conversation on domestic violence. And the conversation last week ended with the thought that in order to heal, in order to begin to heal, in order for healing to really like take place and to stick, that we need to learn to forgive, right? So today here we are, and I wanted to concentrate though, right? I'm going to be honest with everyone. I was doing some reading on today's topic, and I discovered, y'all, that I still need some forgiving to do, but for myself. And I'm going to tell you how I discovered that, because what I did was put together like a little PowerPoint to show you the things that I read that convicted me, to let me know that I still have some healing of myself to do. So we're going to get into the conversation. Ladies, how are you today? How are you, ladies?
Great, thank you.
Thank you so much for joining me again today. And I'm so anxious to hear what's going to come out of today's conversation. So everyone, we have Miss Carolyn back with us. We have Linda back with us. Eunice is at work. And thank you, Eunice. Eunice, even though you're at work, you're here sharing with us. Thank you for that. And we have Francisca. All right, ladies, it's time to dig in. And so, like I told you, we're going to talk about forgiving ourselves. So, what I did was put together a PowerPoint. But before we move on, there's like, okay, there's like background noise. I think that's from you, Miss Carolyn. But yes,
Like what
yeah,
does it sound like? My
like
grandson's
TV or
over.
something.
Okay, my
Yeah,
grandson's playing on his thing.
that's fine.
Uh,
I'm
I have
going
my
to.
mic things on though.
That's all right.
Uh,
If you want, if you can mute yourself, and then when you're ready to talk, you can go ahead and open up the mic
how do I?
again.
Okay, how do I mute myself? I don't see
I'll go
mute.
ahead and mute you. I'll go ahead and mute you. All right, I muted you. All right, so here we are. So I'm going to get into the PowerPoint presentation. Let me see. Okay, so we're talking about forgiving. So what I did was put together signs, right? With the signs that will let us know that we still have a little forgiving of ourselves to do. I want to jump right in there, because at the end we're going to discuss how to move on, how you moved on, how we moved on, how I moved on, how you believe moving on looks like. So here we are. Signs that you may not have forgiven yourself. And if any of you ladies want to jump in, please let me know. Go right in, and we'll take it from there. So, signs that you may not have forgiven yourself. First of all, you're skeptical of everyone. I don't know who can relate to this, but I'm definitely someone who, in the beginning, it was very hard, for me to trust anyone. Anyone. Used to think there was always a motive with everything, and it was just hard to look past certain things, right? Okay, you expect the worst, even though there are signs of hope. Last week, Miss Carolyn talked about how she was, a woman of God, in the ministry and everything. Yet it was hard for her to deal with certain things, and even though we have, the beliefs and everything, the hope, even though hope is trying to make its way to let us know that, tomorrow will be better, because of our minds that have been, imprisoned in the situation, it causes us to want to expect the worst in situations. And then we have, you enter relationships lacking trust, even about yourself. Before we move on, this one right here. First of all, how many of you ladies, right? How many of you are currently in a relationship? Okay, Francisca, can you tell us, you being in the relationship, can you tell us, um how were you able, what was it like when you entered that new relationship? How was it like transitioning into the relationship, coming from an abusive relationship?
Well, it wasn't easy because I want to backtrack to something I want to mention. Last Saturday, I'm actually a widow.
Okay.
I remarried in 2016. I remarried, and unfortunately, my husband passed away. He just turned three years, October 20th this year. And he was totally different from the first relationship. I mean, when I say totally different, within the time frame that we married, which was short lived, because it would have been a year, and June 13th on my birthday that we would have been married. It was when I married him, it was different. He was very loving. He was so sweet. Um, he treated me like a queen. And in that relationship, it was kind of hard to believe that a man like that existed.
Mm,
Um, but he passed away within like the 6 months of our marriage. And that was very hurtful for me. I felt, and no judgments, I felt like God, after 17 years and a half of that domestic violence abuse, how would you finally send me like the special man?
mm,
Very religious, very religious. He didn't drink, he didn't like going out. He was always reading the Bible at night, always, integrating me with that, and that was beautiful. And we got along very well. And when he passed away, I was devastated. All those feelings came back of hate. What did I do?
mm.
I don't deserve this. I really suffered a lot. I had like distrust all over again. I thought I could never love again. I thought like I was being punished. Here again, I'm in another relationship where we started as friends, but I'm gonna be honest with you, ladies. Very hard to believe because in this relationship, is too good to be true.
Mm.
He's homebound, doesn't drink, doesn't go out. He loves to study. He works. He just wants me basically, after everything I went through, to be at peace and to actually hear this man tell me he just wants to see me at peace. I fight that inside of me, like, I don't believe it. What's his hidden agenda? Is it
Mm.
true?
Mm.
And I can't see, how would I say, I can't see past how this man treats me. Let me tell you something. This is a woman's dream. He cooks. If I need anything, he brings it to me. If I want to basically do something, I mean, the man bends over backwards just to do it. And I'd be like, God, did you finally send me someone? And to be honest, I'm scared. I'm
Mm.
scared to let myself go. I'm scared to say the word I love you. I'm scared to actually think in my
What, right
head because
right now? Right now
yes,
oh, okay. How
yes,
long have you been
yes.
in that relationship?
3 years. 3 years now.
Mm.
April the 9th will be 4 years. And I haven't came to terms which he deserves for me to say, I love you. Um, it's hard for me to like come near him, like to hug him. And this has been 3 years where I say to myself, this man is very loving, he's very nice. I ask myself, what's wrong? Why are you
Mm.
not, opening up? God help me, because this man don't deserve me to be, so isolated. But then I fight the isolation and I'll go and I'll hug him once in a blue moon. But then when I see myself doing that, I'll be like, okay, I guess I stay with the trauma. Is this man going to be like strict for me? If I love, will I hurt again? Will he be here like, in the morning? Will he not die, on me? So I stayed, which I'm working on that. I stayed on that trauma. I stayed with that trauma, and I can actually admit it that I do have that trauma. I've spoken to Janice. Janice knows because I tell her, like, girl, he's so nice, he's so loving, but I can't pass that. I'm with him 3 years, but I can't pass that barrier to open my heart. I don't
Mm.
know if you guys, like understand, because it's a little hard for me to confess that because I'm in the relationship. Obviously, there's a lot of him that I like because I'm here. I'm still here, and I'm still like willing to try. I don't want to mess it up because, like I said, the man doesn't yell at me. He doesn't, scream at me. He doesn't mistreat me. If we have a little disagreement, he'll give me my time, and he'll
Mm.
come back and he'll be like, "Can we talk?" And I'll be like the rough head, like, "Not right now." But I know sooner or later it has to happen because he's opening that line of communication. And I do, I do let my elbow twist and I'll be like, okay, can we talk now? And
Mm.
as he's talking, I'm looking at him like, why am I being so hard?
Right.
Why am I not letting myself, like go? Do I want to stay or do I want to leave? And I know if I leave, I don't know what other door, other avenue will open to who will, be in my life. And I'm scared of that. And I said, well, I might as well just deal with what I have now because he's not the problem. I'm the issue to
Mm.
be in reality. I'm the issue because I don't know whether I'm scared, whether I'm just traumatized from my late husband passing out so, passing away so suddenly. And we started as friends for a year and then he wanted more.
Mm.
And I was scared. I said, listen, I just want to be your friend because it looks like it's working on more friends than being your girlfriend. I was like, I don't think I want to take that step. And when I did finally take that step, I don't know if inside of me, I was fair to him if I was ready. So
Mhm.
right now, I'm just battling out to like emotion wise, like, okay, let me hug him, let me see what happens. Sometimes I feel good, and it's just basically like, I don't know if I'm suppressing myself, that's the word, from letting him love me and me doing because I'm a lovable person. Linda
Mm.
knows me, I'm a lovable person. And I don't think it's fair to him or fair to me. So I'm kind of like relating this relationship like I'm scared.
Mm.
I'm not being as open, and I'm just like I'm not. I don't want to say sticking around because obviously there's something about him I like because I'm still here. But
Mhm.
it's just that I battle with God, like, okay, God, help me. Should I go by him, hug him? Should I give him a kiss? Should I do this? So I battle and I talk with God a lot because I'd be like, help me right now because you sent me this man is for a reason because
Right.
he is like, the catch of the, to me, he's the catch of the day. What woman do not
Mm.
want a man in the house that's not drinking, hanging out, not hanging out with his friends? He's just basically work, study, and pushing me to the limits too. So if I'm
Mm.
in school right now, taking my pre-counseling classes, he motivated me. So he does not, put obstacles. That's what you want to do. Go ahead. I'll help you. If you need anything, I'll go get it for you. So I'll be like, oh my God, with all that in front of my face, sometimes I feel guilty and be like, okay, how can I fix this? God help me along the way, because he deserves me to love him. He has
Mhm.
not done absolutely nothing for me to say, okay, I want to leave him because he's like this. No. The fact that this man will tell me, I just want to see you in the bed at peace and relax after a long day, I'll be like, okay, this can't be true. I look
Well,
around and be like, is there cameras? This can't be true.
I mean, I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're here because like just the first three steps already. Let's kind of answered your question already. You're asking what is wrong, and so far, what I'm hearing is are pointers that were already presented. Being skeptical of him. You're expecting, what you're expecting from your relationship and from him is negative, and
Yeah,
then there's a lack of trust. So, you know, if you're asking what's wrong, why, then I believe it's safe for me to say that I think the core issue is that you, like me, we still need to forgive ourselves. We still need to go through that process of, forgiving ourselves. But the good thing is, there's something inside of you that's still fighting for the good, because you're not allowing these negative emotions that you're used to. You know what I mean? Because
yeah,
it's something that we're used to. We have to unlearn certain behaviors and certain emotions that we learned from being in a toxic relationship. So girl, don't worry about it. You are on the healing process, you are on the healing journey, and so we're here together to make sure we get to that to get to that finish
yeah.
line, however long it takes. I don't know. Anyone else want to chime in on this before we move on? Because this is something I think that is very pertinent, because not only intimate relationships, but friendships with other females, that is in jeopardy as well, because of the lack of trust. Does anyone else want to chime in here before we move on? All right. So here we are. Unable to accept gifts or compliments without thinking there's a motive. Francisco, what when you talked about, you touched on this as well. You are wondering, like, oh my God, like, what's going on with him? Is he this? Is he that? And again, these are signs that we may not have forgiven ourselves. Hard to
Nora,
make
can you
this.
hear me?
Oh no, you wanted to say something?
I'll say it really quick. I wanted to say when Francisca was talking, and what happens is not only does these things happen where it's hard to let somebody in, but there's a spirit of self hatred, which is an unloving spirit from Satan that makes us think we don't deserve to have someone treat us special, and we thereby don't treat ourselves as special as we should. So again, that's a sign of I haven't forgiven myself. I feel I don't deserve it. So we start questioning nice treatment. We start questioning distrust, suspicion. All those spirits work together. Suspicious child. And when you say that you're at Francisco, when you say you're asking God, um, God wants you to know, I'm gonna answer for you. I'm gonna answer God, okay? He wants you to know that he wants you to have this love. He wants you to be treated nice. So a lot of converse back and forth with God is really you're conversing with yourself. You're wrestling with yourself. We wrestle with ourselves. I do the same thing. Even before the abuse, I used to do it when I had bad relationships. And then I said, "Oh, I gotta be careful if that person's gonna do the same thing." That's because we haven't gotten free.
Mhm.
We haven't gotten
Okay.
free. And when we get free, then we'll know I deserve this, and I won't let you in without showing me these nice,
I know that's
gestures
right.
or nice words. So it starts shifting to I deserve this. Wait a minute. I'm not settling. So when I heard you say I don't want to get out because I may not get nothing else. God always have something for you. If you get out, don't feel you won't get anything else. Stay in
Mm-hmm.
because you love yourself and you care for this person. So don't, you know what I'm saying? Because we
Yeah.
also, what happened with me in relationships, I always, Satan always distorted my thinking too. The grass look greener over there,
Mm.
and it's not greener.
Mm-mm.
It got to be green in ourselves first.
True. Thank you, Carol.
All right, so just a couple more. We are constantly thinking about a particular situation over and over again. You know, especially thinking back on what we did wrong, what we could have done differently. I'm guilty of this. It's been,
Me
I want to
too.
say it's been like, 5 years since I've been out of the relationship. Know,
Oh, sorry. Somebody's
Noise.
calling.
It's a noise messing up. It's
okay.
Nora. It's her. Okay, we just having some technical difficulties right now. To the watchers, Nora's working on her technology. I'm sure. Um, so while she's working on it, I'm just respond so we can keep the show going. We will think about a particular situation over and over, and we again, here comes those unloving spirits. What did I do wrong? What did I do wrong? Never looking at what was wrong or what wasn't right, but we put I, and as women that have encountered abuse, even if it's coming from relationships with not the opposite sex, it can be relationships with girlfriends, with family members. We have to keep our hearts open to not accuse ourselves. Once we admit, um, and we identify with any decisions we made that were not healthy, or any wrong we may have done toward a person, once we have apologized, once we have asked for forgiveness, once then we got to forgive ourselves. If we don't forgive ourselves, we're going to still run into a wall with accusing ourselves with relationships with all people, not just the men that abused us, but it'll be like that with all people, and we don't have to continue that way because God wants us to be free. There's Nora. Nora, we just tried to
Ah,
keep some conversation going
thank
to our
you.
wonderful
Thank
host
you. I
and
don't
back.
thank you. I don't know what's going on, but guess what? We are going to get healed today. We are going we are going to mission will be accomplished today. That's all I know. So, thank you so much for keeping it going. Go ahead. Don't let me interrupt you. What were you let me in on it. Let me in on it, please.
We were just talking about the accusing ourselves over and over. What did I do wrong? The I syndrome. Like we are blaming ourselves. And again, I referred that back to that unloving spirit that always
Mhm.
try to do that. And it's not just in relationships with female to male, but even with with the girlfriends we have, people, family, whomever, we always refer back to what did I do? What did I do? And if we did do something, once we identify it, we say, okay, I won't do that again, or I'm sorry. We have to move on to forgiving ourselves, or we will carry that with unforgiving self, start carrying rejection spirit, unforgiveness of myself, bitterness spirit. We feel rejected all the time when really, Francisca, we don't have to feel like someone's rejecting us or rejecting others. That unloving spirit will cause us to miss out on what's really good for us with relationships with people. So I'm learning as we talk, and I'm learning as I share with other women and be honest that I deserve good and I deserve to give good. So as soon as I hear that voice coming in there, oh, you so stupid. Oh, why did you stay that long? I have to tell that voice, stop it, shut up, because we all talk of God. That's not God talking. That's Satan. That's the enemy.
Mm-hmm.
That's doubt. That's all that evil that does not want us to prosper and go forth and be happy. And that's the stuff that I'm getting off of me. I'm getting out of me. Because when we find out how sweet and precious and beautiful we are to God, that spirit of God draws to us loving spirits. You understand? I was talking about that in
Mm-hmm.
our last conversation. Then I'm gonna be quiet. We have to ask, what spirit in me keep allowing this door to open for this kind of spirit to come in? And we shut that thing down. It could have been generational, or it could be something that we adapt to because we felt, well, at least he want me. Well, at least they want to be my friends. At least this. No, uh,
Mm-hmm.
uh. I deserve the best. We deserve the best in every kind of relationship we get in. And we're not going to be abused by nobody. I'm not talking physical abuse, mental abuse, emotional abuse with girlfriends, whomever. I had to let some people go because I got tired of them condemning me. And that condemnation that they were giving me made me even more not forgive myself. I
Mm-hmm.
held on to regret. And my daughter and father in our relationship, I was like, you were so stupid. He wanted to buy you a house at 23 years old, and you was looking at something greener on the other side, which was a lie. Do you see? The other side is a lie. It's a distraction.
Mm-hmm.
I share that with you ladies. When you start looking on the other side and something's good right there for you, that's a distraction from the
It
enemy to
is.
get you off base of what God has for you. Only person we can ask is God. Ask him because he will not lie to us.
There
Thank
was
you,
something.
Nora.
Oh no, thank you. I don't know what's going on with the internet, but the show must go on, because this is a very important topic for everyone, even those people who feel that if you ask them, have you forgiven? And they'll say yes. But going through, the reading and stuff, like I said, you'll discover that no, because it's actually deeper than we think. While you were talking, there was something that you mentioned, and you know when it comes to how do we move on, right? One of the things that I've discovered, and it's a hard pill to swallow, is to take ownership, of our part. You talked about learning those lessons, realizing those things that allowed the abuse to come in, that allowed dishonesty or wherever else to come in. This is one of you know how when someone is under an addiction, and it's time, and they go, and they're the recovering process, what happens to them as they're recovering, we call it, or it's called, the withdrawal process. And what you tend to see, that's the ugly part. That's the part where you see all the shaking and the slobbing and the hallucinations and all that. And that's the toughest part, before now getting to the other side, where you can actually walk those lessons out. And that part I liken to, when it comes to accepting our part. At the end of the day, you know um it's good to sit down and reflect. That's the best way, in my opinion, to learn a lesson, when you actually go back and take a look at what are those things. Because I mean, whether we call it, like in my situation, whether it's the insecurities that, we were going through, whether it was, some people enter a relationship for money, some people enter a relationship because they're lonely. They may not necessarily like the individual, but because they are lonely, when I say identifying our own part, that's what I'm talking about. Looking at ourselves, reflecting back on, okay, how did I even get in this situation? Right. And once we discover those things, actually saying to ourselves that, listen, you see that person who was so beat up, used to beat up on herself so bad, that anyone who came up to her and said hello, she, gave herself to, I don't want to be that person anymore, or that person you know um who, like I mentioned, love money so much that you're getting into things that you ought not to get. You're going to say to yourself, listen, that person who was so obsessed with money, I'm not going to be that person anymore. So it's about identifying, right? Identifying those lessons and learning from it, growing from it, blooming from it. So what I want you ladies to do is to, share. I
Can I
think,
share on that word reflect that you
go ahead.
talked about really quick, Nora? Reflecting is for to reveal what we did, but not walk in a guilt, not
Yes.
walk condemned, not walked with feeling like you got a refrigerator on top of your head. But when things are revealed to us, it's for healing. It's to progress in us into a better self. Not stay there, because when we stay there, here come that unforgiveness, and here come that bitterness, and here
Yeah.
comes that regret. And they will hold you hostage. But we are coming into healing, that we will
Mhm.
not be held hostage of no mistake we did. God forgives us. And I have to use that woman at the well. He forgave that woman. He was asking her where her husbands were to let her reflect. And soon as she reflect, he said, no more, don't go and don't sin no more.
Right.
Jesus didn't hold it over her. God don't hold it over us, and we're not gonna hold that thing over
That's it.
ourselves. We're gonna
Hmm.
go ahead, and when Mr. Right come and step up to me, I'm gonna do some serious talking more and understanding more, and just and ask God, can I? Is this something that I can give a chance? Because I'm not gonna grow old and be bitter and unhappy. And I'm not saying that we have to have a man to be with us, but it is wonderful to have a beautiful person to be with you, to love. And so the only way we're going to do that is we have to forgive ourselves.
Yes.
We was
Very.
immature. We made mistakes.
I mean, the truth.
Or
That's
somebody,
the truth.
you know what, Nora? In my case, I accepted somebody that didn't know how to love me, and I'm not going to
Yeah.
change the way I love for you to love me. I'm going to love the way I love, and
Can
That's
if
I
you
it.
ask
can't do
something?
that,
Go-
then you don't deserve me.
That's it.
Hello?
Go ahead, Eunice. Go ahead.
About forgiveness, I had to write the perpetrator in prison because they only gave him 3 years, and I had to do it not only to, forgive, but I had to forgive myself, and I had to let go, in order for me to move on. So I wrote him a letter in prison, forgiving him and saying, I forgive you, what you did for, to me, the abuse that I endured within that 4 short month that I was with him.
Mm.
I had to do it. I had to write that, and I felt so good. But
Mm.
unfortunately, ladies, I carry that trauma into all other relationships. And this
Mm.
happened into 27, and I'm still healing from it.
So I agree with
Um,
Carolyn. I agree with Francesca and you ladies that healing does take a part. And I hate myself for it because I literally just, I could say that I ran away so many good men in my life. I
mm,
pushed them away because of the trauma that I carry to this day.
but I'm going to help you retract a statement that you said, right? You mentioned that you hate yourself for it. Like I what I feel like saying right now, please excuse me the way I'm about to say it, but like don't you ever say that again. Like don't you ever when it comes to you and your relationship, because the let me tell you, besides the relationship that we have with God, the most important relationship that we'll ever have is with ourselves. So when you are on the journey of loving yourself, of healing, of being in a relationship with yourself, please don't ever, and I'm talking to myself too, don't ever use the word hate, that you hate yourself, or don't ever, get so negative with yourself, because actually what you're doing is like, it's like you're taking a hammer and you're digging that nail deeper. You're digging the nail deeper. You know what I mean? And I can totally
Well, I
relate.
should be more apologetic then. Let me rephrase what I said, you know,
No, because I say
because
that.
Apologize
Uh-huh.
to yourself, Yancy.
yeah, like I was being a
Go
real
ahead,
bitch
girl.
to these
Apologize
men.
to yourself.
Even Francesca could even say, right, Francesca, you could see, right, all these men, and I just be like, whatever, like I just, so I think that that was just my defense mechanism that I tend to be non-responsive to when I'm being, try to like lure from a man. But it's just that I know I have to take care of myself moving
Yeah.
forward. Healing does take time, and and the prayer works
It
basically.
does. It does.
Yep.
It does. Or
Prayer
All
else
works.
right.
we would still be in the situation that we were in. If you know what I mean. Prayer does
All
work,
right.
and it's
Amen.
it's all about, my the reason why I say that is because, one of the things that I found, and this is something that I've personally, I am personally doing, because I'm currently doing. I constantly have to, say this to myself. We have to accept ourselves where we are. We have to, we have to accept, that, hey, as broken as we are, this is who we are right now, because once we can accept ourselves, then now we can apply whatever healing strategy that we need to do, whether it's take yourself out, whether it's to wear makeup, whether it's to, whatever, before anything can happen, we first got to get to that point where we got to say, you know what, I was in this relationship. It hurt me like hell. It tore me to
She was sharing
pieces,
about being in a relationship, and it was bad. It can tear us to
but
pieces. Can you
I'm
guys hear me? It can do a
Yeah.
No,
lot
it's
of
kind of
things.
bad.
Yeah, Nora, she'll be back. It's a bad connection, but she'll come back in. Yancy, when I was saying to you,
here.
apologize to yourself, I was
It's Yenna's,
apologizing.
Carolyn. I'm sorry.
Eunice, I'm sorry, dear. Eunice, do you know I was even apologizing to myself? I was saying, you know what, Carol, I'm sorry I locked you in like that for all them years, and in those bad relationships. I was in a bad a relationship for 10
You
years with a gentleman that was incarcerated. He was a minister, and when he came home, he went back to being to marrying the woman that
as cliche
before
as it
me. And I had to really work on forgiving myself for that 10 years relationship. So Nora, you back? She's frozen again. I had to forgive myself. You said your name is Eunice, right?
Yes.
Yeah, Eunice. I had to forgive myself because I was like saying you are so stupid. All of the people that told me come out of that relationship. Nora, I was sharing how I was in a relationship for 10 years with a gentleman. He was a minister and he was incarcerated, and I met
Mhm.
him. And 10 years of my life, all of the 1990s, here I am stuck. And I said to myself, I have to forgive myself because it was hard for me when I looked after getting out. Like, I can't believe you did that for 10 years. You
Mhm.
weren't sexually involved with this man. You didn't bring money to him. You didn't do all of this stuff. But the time that was taken away from my life was crazy. And I had to forgive myself for that along with other relationships. And until it's just a couple of years ago that I started saying to myself, let it go, because it keeps you, believe it or not, you're in depression. You functioning. You're a functional depressed person when
Mm.
unforgiveness is on you. So that's why I said tell yourself you're sorry. Say self sorry for doing that, because if not, it's like you're not really living to the fullest of your potential,
Yeah. Yeah.
because this thing plagues you every day. This
So
unforgiveness will plague you.
identifying those triggers and
That's it.
accepting, reflecting, and those are the needs that we need to, so we won't put that on others, with our relationship moving
Don't
forward,
let
any
others take
relationship.
the gauze is
Yeah.
on the table.
Yep, that's what it's about, identifying. I think in a nutshell, that's what it's all about, just like just
Mhm.
I can't help but to, connect it with someone who has gone through or is going through the healing process of addiction, because people who have, because that's actually something I've been in a relationship with someone who who is an addict, right? And so when it comes to the recovery process, it's like I almost feel like it's till death do them part, you know what I mean? Because you constantly have to remind yourself, listen, I am not that person anymore. I can trust, I
Yeah.
can love again. I am and guess what? You have to do it. It's work. It's work.
Yes.
It's work. Don't ever, the part where I think sometimes what we do is get stuck on the negative. We get stuck on the fact that we were in that relationship. We get
Yes.
stuck on the part that we were abused or we were a victim or whatever, instead of crossing over, right? Like
Hmm.
last week, I forgot who corrected me. I think it was Was it Francisca that corrected me last week? She said, "No, I'm not a victim. I'm a survivor."
Yeah.
So we tend to get stuck at the victim point instead of crossing over. And in order to cross over, just a picture when you walk, right? If you need a visual, picture when you walk, every step that you take, every step that you take is something positive that you say to yourself. Just like you're going to need those steps to get from point A to point B. Every time you take a step, I'm beautiful. The next step, I'm gorgeous. Next step, I can trust. Next step, you understand? I think that's the best way to look at the process. Again, I'm talking to myself, y'all. As I'm talking to y'all, I'm talking to me.
Hmm. Hmm.
So
Yeah.
I'm still in the process of, accepting me, because at first I didn't know who I was. I remember telling someone, like, I don't know who I am. I don't know who I
Right.
am. I don't know I don't
Right.
know what my identity is. I don't like it's
Mhm.
just now. I am 42 years old, y'all. And it's just now that I'm discovering certain things about myself. And it's so strange because I thought I was somebody who was quiet. Whereas no, I'm not. I do like to have conversations, you know what I mean? But I'm discovering the reason why I was quiet then was because I was insecure. I doubted myself. I doubted what I was saying. So I never really said anything. But that wasn't my identity. You know what I mean? And so this is a process, and allow yourself. Please allow yourself to go through the process. Allow yourself. That means that maybe when God's
We
come,
gotta, yeah, we gotta stay prayed up and do meditation, work on ourselves, eating right, exercise, staying away from toxic energy. That's what I've been
yes.
doing. Francesca
Hmm.
will tell you, I drop anybody that's negative in my life. I don't care. It
Same
could be
here.
my mom, my sister, my brother, my children.
Yep.
My sanity, my peace means more, and it costs more. That's my zen tool. Like, no, it costs no money can compare to my peace and my
I know
sanity.
that's right.
You
Yeah.
know,
And
so
just know
it's
that
valuable.
it's okay.
Can I
Just
say something?
know it's okay. Go ahead, Francisca. Go ahead.
I don't know. I just wanted to say something because there was two words I want to try to correct if you ladies allow me.
Go ahead.
Throughout my lifetime, um, I've always used the word Nora, and I hope I can say this. And Janice too, referring to the word that you said, like hating myself, and then the other word, oh God, broken. I justify myself through everything I've went through and still going through. I tell people, don't judge me if you see me act a certain way. And when I do certain speeches, I always say I'm under construction.
That's it.
I would, yeah, I say under
Yeah,
construction.
she does.
I used
I
to say
find
that too.
broken. I find broken, the word broken, I don't know. It kind of like when I heard you, Nora, said it. I know there was a time in our lives that we felt like that because I can honestly say it. I did. But as the years went by, I just kept saying to myself, I'm not a victim. I'm a
Mm.
survivor. I'm not broken.
Yeah.
I'm under
You're under
construction,
construction. Yep.
building yourself out. I've always corrected Janice. She knows I always tell her, don't say that word around
Don't
me.
you ever.
I'm a positive person because I told her, I said, listen, there's something that helps me a lot. And I've helped a lot of people that reached out to me in all entities, molestation, addiction. I have a lot of people that I mentor over the phone. And one that I mentored was 22 years old, and she happens to have been my niece that confessed something to me. And I had told her, I don't ever want you to say that you allowed it or you asked for it or it's something that you deserved, because I told her, I said, I can confess to you what happened to me, because and I can bluntly already say um I survived abuse, molestation at the age of 7, not from my real father, stepfather. And I survived cancer in 2007, domestic violence, you name it, I survived everything. And I told my niece, I said, you know what made me survive? I actually looked in the mirror one time, and I looked and I had to love what I was looking at.
Mm.
And I have a mirror at my door and I look at it every day, and I just thank God for me being alive again. Just help me help. I'm a serving, God fearing woman. I help a lot of people. And for me to help anybody, I have to start with myself. I
Mm.
honestly have to start with myself. I don't
Yeah.
like ever referring to myself saying I hate myself, because I don't. I love exactly what I'm looking in that mirror, and I love what it's looking back
Yes.
to, despite what happened in the past to me. And when I told this to my niece, I said, listen, I want you to start taking pictures of you. I want you to look at yourself, say you love yourself, look in the mirror and say, I love what I'm looking at. Because if it don't start with you, I think nothing from there on, matters, because everything would be like you just said, Nora,
Yes.
everything would be negative. Like you said, Carol, all the negativity, Satan will always keep like in your head
Right.
saying,
That's what I was
you're
gonna say.
ugly.
There's a higher
Yeah, I hate
power.
you. Yeah,
It's
so
just
you have to like, I've always said, I don't let that individual take that power. I got it.
I
I
know that's
utilize it myself. So that's
right.
how I always define myself. Like, I'm under construction. I'm not like totally perfect, but I tend to look in the mirror and be like, okay, girl, you doing that today. I'm like, no matter how I look in the morning, with my hair messed up, I still look and be like, God, you know what? you did that in me. I love myself today. And I just keep it, I just keep it moving. But anytime I see someone say that, what I'd be like, we under constructive. So we're
That's it.
building like ourselves up. Like I said, what happened in the past for all five of us, four of us, it don't define us. It's making us better. Because look, Nora, what you're doing, I thank you
Thank
for
you.
opening the forum for women to open up and talk about the situation.
Amen.
When
Yes,
years
Nora.
ago, I said, okay, all this happened because I probably deserved it. Now I'm like, no, I don't.
Mm-mm.
No, I don't. The person that did what they did, they're the sick one. They have the problem. We don't.
We
We're
don't.
just like, innocent bystander in the situation. So I just, every day I work on myself all the time. I try to do something for myself. I'll make a tea and I'll watch TV, but that's my me time. I'll walk around the park. I'll breathe. I'll look at a flower. As silly as it might sound, I'll look at a leaf and I'll be like, oh God, I like the color of that leaf.
Yeah,
But
we have
I'm
to be
looking at it.
stewardship of God,
Yeah,
Yes.
we
bringing
have to.
wisdom to other women, building stronger relationships out here in the community because a lot of people are unaware, especially now during the pandemic, because a lot of abuse rising,
Yeah.
especially with women. And we could discuss this real short, real quick, that right now this pandemic has really stricken a lot of homes where these abusers, they strategizing how to control their
Mm,
victims. So
mm.
we are chosen, ladies, and
That's
we are moving forward as God, women of God, to build a stronger unity for others that are voiceless out here. So
amen.
yes.
Amen to that. You know, ladies, I want to. I wish we can talk about this like all day.
Nora, can I?
Yeah, I'm Miss Carolyn. Miss Carolyn, trust me. I'm coming to you, Miss
I'm so
Carolyn.
sorry. Okay.
I'm coming to you because I want you to. I want you to close us out. Um, but
What
what
happened to Linda?
I don't know. She got disconnected.
And never
But
came back.
yeah, something wrong with everyone's internet. It look except for y'all. This going on. But I will say this, ladies. The goal is to realize who we were, right? And
Hmm.
to never be that person again. Who the goal is to, whether we have to do some soul searching, whether we have to do counseling, whether we need to sit down with a friend, along with prayer, right? Because we have prayer, but then you still have to walk some things out after we leave the presence of God, right? There's going to be some mapping out God is going to have us to do, and we got to walk
Yes.
that out, right?
Yeah.
So the point is to do whatever
Whew.
it takes, right? To recognize who
It's
we
gonna be
were,
tough.
recognize those red flags, recognize those destructive behaviors in ourselves and others, right? And to promise ourselves, this is how we're going to love ourselves. We're going to promise ourselves. You see how we like, whenever toxic people come around, we're like, oh, you know what? I'm going to have to catch you later. That's because we are loving ourselves. It's called loving ourselves, right? And we love ourselves by not being that person, so that it will allow us to be who we truly are. And that's what Remnants is all about. I just want, these conversations started from selfish reasons, because I'm like, I got issues and I know other women got issues. Let's come
Yes.
talk about it,
Yes.
because when we talk like
Yes.
this, there's healing. I call it talk therapy. There
This
is
Okay.
is like a red table talk. Red table talk.
okay.
Like
This
Jada
is
Pickens Smith
therapy.
and all that.
I want to talk to you, Jada. Okay. So this is therapy right here. And this is free.
Amen.
It's free, So, Miss Carolyn, the mic is yours. The mic is
Okay.
yours. Take
So
us out.
I was just listening to kind of like do just a whole summation, like when we get to that point of acknowledging, that's a self-evaluation. And my self-evaluation is to acknowledge, okay, identify low self-esteem, identify compromise, identify selfishness of wanting to get this for myself. So I compromise myself. I identify them. And once I identify them, I look, okay, what was my how was my mother? What was my grandmother like? My sister's like this one, that generational curses thing. Then once we do that and we present that thing, okay, we said prayer. But prayer is, I'm all for prayer. But when I talk about it, when I share my matters of my heart, the more I tell my story, I am overcome by the power of my testimony. And
Amen.
I go from under construction to survivor to restored. We are being
Okay.
restored. And
Amen.
in my restoration, you get the real me. I can come
Hmm.
out, I can share, because when you share your story, you getting naked. Francisca, I went through molestation, I went through
Me
abuse,
too.
I even went
Me
through
too.
abusing myself.
Mm.
When you think about it, I abused myself to allow myself to act out this way. But why? Because I wasn't in touch with the real person God made. But when
Right.
I come
Mm.
into true identity of who I am and who I really belong to, then nothing shall come my way that does not line up with that identity. And
That's it.
that's what we
Amen.
getting real with.
Speak.
Because let me tell you something. I can
Jesus.
tell when we really get down with the get down, I can go out there
Ooh.
and I can shoot a prostitute. I didn't stand on the corner, but I made compromises that is the same thing as prostitution.
Okay.
Okay, so let's
Hmm.
let's just like keep it real. Okay,
Real, real.
so and guess what? I forgive myself for all of that. So Lord, if you don't mind, women that are engaged in listening to us as well as us, Father, in the name of Jesus, we
Hmm.
agree with who you say we are,
That's
and we
it.
forgive ourselves and we forgive others. Therefore, we are forgiven. Our hearts are open to
Mhm.
new identity, who you really made us to be, and we make a vow to ourselves to remind ourselves of who we are and where we really came from, and all of the beauty that you said we are, and what we're going to do right now. We agree that what we went through did not, we not going to let it hold us hostage, but we're going to use it now to bless
Hmm.
somebody else. So that's what we're
Hmm.
going to do with all the mistakes we made. We're going to bless somebody else, and we're not going to give the devil no credit, right?
No, we're
Hmm.
gonna give him a
Nobody
black eye.
abuse us.
We're gonna
not
give him a
not
black eye.
only a black eye,
And
okay?
nobody gets no
Amen.
credit
Amen.
but
Amen.
God,
Amen.
because we are overcomers by the power of our testimony.
Come on
That's
now.
what we walking
Amen.
in. Amen. That's
Hmm.
what we walking
Amen.
Amen.
in.
Let the
That's
Amen.
church
what you
say
walking in,
amen.
ladies.
Amen.
Yes.
That's what the
Hey,
ladies that's out there. If you got it, HIV, if anything happened to you, the worst thing you could think of, for tell God, cleanse me of it, and go forth now and share with somebody else. We're gonna meet you on this line at the next appointed time when Nora
come
say
on.
so.
Come on
Cause
now.
we
It's
finna
this
Amen,
go.
line.
sis.
Let me tell you,
We
this line is always open for stuff like this. This line is always open. I encourage, as a matter of fact, I'm going to say, like, anyone, if any of you want to come on here and you have a testimony or you have something on your heart that you want to discuss, Remnants of Red is here. Remnants is here
Mm-hmm.
to talk
Yeah.
about it. If there's someone that you specifically want to come on and you want to hear them talk about it, come on. Anything to get you to that place that Miss Carolyn talked about where we are overcomers, I'm willing. The Miss Carolyn is willing, Francisca is willing, Eunice is willing, Linda, who dropped off, she's willing. You
I'm
know,
gonna correct you, Nora. It's Yenis.
oh my God.
I gotta
Janice.
correct Francisca too. She called me Janice, but I know her for a long time, so I just let
That's
her pass.
fine. Yanis, that's fine. Sorry, please do. You feel free, but that's what it's all, and that's what makes a remnant. That's exactly what
Yes.
makes a remnant. So I
Yes.
thank you, all you remnants watching out. Please excuse the technical difficulties, excuse the in and out and all that. But I hope that you get what you're supposed to get. Please pay attention to the nuggets that were dropped in this conversation, because I promise you it will transform your life, because it has already started doing something on the inside of me, you
Me
know.
too.
So I thank
Amen. Me
God
too.
for each and every one. I mean, we didn't mean to take it to church, but you know, this is who we are, y'all.
But
This is
we
who we
all working
are.
on ourselves.
But we
We
can
Uh-huh.
go
work
the
on
other
other
route if you
people.
want, because we have not forgotten before we got saved and when we got
Okay.
saved and made mistakes. So we can go both
We
ways
can
if
go
we want
there
to.
too.
We can go right there. We could be raw and we can be righteous. So just know
I like that. We could be raw
we
Carolyn.
and
can
we
be
could be
around.
righteous.
Carolyn, you want to be raw and righteous. I know
Raw
that's
and
right.
Oh God.
so I love it. I love it. I love it. Remnants out there, again, thank you so much for your support. Everyone who supports Remnants of Red, God bless you. Oh my goodness, thank you so much. Please continue to share, continue to like, continue to, pour in your comments, your suggestions. Please, we're open for it. And like I always say, I'm going to sign off with what I always say, y'all. Please go out there. Go out there and find someone to love, okay? Because it is a matter of life and death. And based on today's show, please let that first person you love be yourself, okay? So,
Amen.
on that note, peace. Thank you so much for joining us. See
Bye,
y'all
everyone.
next
God
week.
bless you, ladies. God bless us.
Love you guys. Love you.